Alrighty, we got to get that intro fixed up.
Yeah.
We're live, Reed.
Yeah,
we didn't have the intro. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to get an intro. We're live. We're live. We got people listening. Welcome everyone to today's Freight Gong Friday. And next week we will have an intro. We'll have a new intro. I'm working. What's up?
Did it not work?
Well, I'm getting a new one set up. Right now we had no music, but we might as well have a gong for the beginning of it. Let me pull up the gong.
Ring it.
Yeah, I got to ring the gong. Give me 1 second. I got to find the gong. And we are...
Dude.
What are you doing?
I lost the I was using the mount yesterday and I lost the little metal thing on the bottom, but we're good.
Alrighty.
So I'm getting this plugged in right now.
This is behind the scenes right here.
We have a production delay this morning.
This is why we need 30 minutes before our guest comes on, because we're getting ready during the first 30 minutes. But with the first guest, we have Trey Griggs joining us at 8:30 Central Time. So in about 28 minutes, we'll have Trey.
We got a problem, bro. We're out of cigarettes at the clubhouse. I'm on the live stream. Dude,
sorry, I don't have your
Dude, Chad's been. We've taken about 1,000 pictures of Chad in the truck with the Freight Caviar.
Nothing. I've been wearing your sweater every day because it's thicker than this one, so it's been keeping me warm, and sometimes it's been keeping me sweaty.
Got it. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. It's nice and warm. It's cold out there, so you need something that's going to keep you warm.
Yeah, I like it too because the hood has the 2 seams in it, not just the one. So it's a great sweater. It's one of the most comfortable sweaters because of the material on the inside. Because you know how sometimes they'll ball up and stuff like that. Your sweater does not do that, and your sweater feels amazing on the inside. I believe there's probably a lot of polyester in there to make your sweater.
No, actually, surprisingly, I think it's a 60-40 split. 60% cotton, 40% polyester.
Well, that 40% of polyester really helps it out because I've got one that's 100% polyester, and it's the best. It's like my baby, and I paid $15 for it. It was a Tampa Bay old school logo Buccaneers that I found in, God, what is that? Somewhere down in Florida, one of the places at like a Marshall's for $15. It was like $65, and your sweater ranks up with that thing. So that's just awesome. So everybody knows who's watching. If we're live right now and people are watching, get one of Paul's sweater.
We're currently sold out.
Really?
We're sold out
here.
I'll take. We got some in the office.
I'll take the stock for you, and I'll tell you how many you can put up.
Yeah. We let us know how many. We have a few hoodies left. I don't know if we have a couple sizes. I think like a medium and maybe a large. I don't know exactly, but no, we don't have large actually. I think we have larger.
Yeah, I think they're mostly smaller sizes.
Hey, either way, if you're that size like me, you're medium or medium or small or whatever.
What size do you wear?
I wear medium. I wear the mediums.
Hey,
listen, I cut these right here because sometimes the hoods are tight and it's hard to get them overhead. Plus, I don't want to rip these black diamond earrings out that are real, 100%.
Black diamond earrings, baby.
What's up, baby?
All right, I think we're cooking.
All right, I'm gonna get back here. All right,
I'm gonna put my headphones in.
Reed, so last week you were at BGSA out in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is the Benjamin Gordon Strategic Alliance. Is it Alliance?
Advisors.
Yeah. I think BGSA has really blown up over the last couple of years, especially this year. I feel like there was a lot more attention for it than there were in recent past years.
I think I honestly think it's like I mean, historically it's been and let me just get my settings right here while I'm talking. Historically, I think it's been mostly a it's been. I mean, it was the 20th year. He's been doing it for 20 years. So
incredible.
Yeah,
compounding.
It's a good crowd. I mean, it's mostly executives, and a lot of people bring their wives or spouses, and
No.
because it's like, I mean, dude, it's like the nicest venue, like by far of any. I mean, it's probably one of the nicest hotels in the country, honestly. So
sure.
I saw Mark Wahlberg. I was eating lunch on Wednesday, the day before it started, and I was eating lunch with Brent, and Mark Wahlberg walked by, and I was like, Brent, dude, that was Mark Wahlberg. He was like, what? Mark? I was like, yeah. So he's over there, and he like rolled in with his like entourage. You know how Entourage is based on Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah,
the show. So it was literally like a scene in Entourage. You know how like half the scenes in Entourage are them like rolling into a restaurant or like a club or something, like with the squad. Like that's kind of how it felt.
Yeah, for sure. I know exactly what you mean.
You're frozen on my screen. Am I frozen on your screen?
1 second, dude. It's weird. Whenever like I go like to a different tab, I feel like my camera might freeze. Is it good now?
Yeah, you're good now.
But let me. Is it freezing right now? Did it freeze again?
Yes.
Dang, that's not good. That's not good.
It's funny. It's funny. Dude, I have to look around the camera to see you. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. There's got to be a better way to do this than putting the camera in front of the TV.
I don't know. We're amateurs at this, but we're learning.
We are definitely amateurs.
It's funny because like I think people are like tuning in right now and they're like, this is probably the most like ADHD show they've ever listened to. But it's only the beginning. We always need a 30-minute intro morning just to
you gotta get warmed up, dude.
We gotta get warmed up. So the 30 minutes is just a warm up. And I mean, we have pretty cool guests today. We have Trey Griggs coming on. We're gonna be talking about conferences this year that are worthy of hitting up. And I think what's cool is that you and Trey hit up a lot of conferences, so you could both tell us what are the best ones to look out for. And then we have Matthew Leffler, armchair attorney, coming on. There's a couple of high profile court cases right now that involve freight brokers, so I think it'd be cool just to get his opinion on it. And then we have Demi Ramon from Highway, VP of Operations at Highway. We talked to her a couple of months ago, and they had the Q4 report come out this week for freight fraud. Yeah. And it's interesting because in that report, it had Serbia listed as, I think, the country where the most amount of freight fraud is tied to. And you know, we posted it on Instagram yesterday. We posted this post, and we got a lot of people commenting like, hey, that's not true, like this is false, and like they're like saying Uzbekistan is where you see more freight fraud. And but I think it's gonna be interesting to talk to Demi about that. Like, how do they get that data? And because there's a lot of good Serbian carriers out there, and I think there's just a lot of people from Serbia working in the U.S. industry. I'm curious if we could answer some of the questions that people have from our Instagram commenting yesterday. So we'll get into that as well. But yeah, we have a packed show. So
I do actually like that nobody comes on until 9:30 because that helps. That I feel like that helps us get in the groove a little bit. Like,
yeah, and we're always like late a little bit. I feel like we're not. It's like we're not really operating on like a strict schedule here from us, like per se. We're still getting the groove of things. But
no, we are not. But that's okay. The dude, do you have a light? I know you took a picture of your setup. You have a light.
I got a light right here.
Yeah. This stage light that's here that you guys left is like, I still don't have a brick powerful enough to power it while it's on, so it just always dies.
Buy one of the large MacBook Pro chargers. That's what I use.
Dude, I bought this Ager brick. That's like, I mean, it's a big boy. So I don't know, bro. I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna let you tell me and people tell me if this like actually looks any better with the light.
I think your lighting is overall pretty good right now. Like, my lighting would be bad if I turned off my light right now. My light wouldn't be good. Am I a little bit too bright at the moment, Reed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you're not dark, but you're not like too bright. I don't think.
Not too bright. Okay.
No, I think you're doing okay.
I got to get more stuff in the back right here. I want to fill up a wall. I want to get a nice like wall right behind me with some logos, some trucks.
Dude, yeah, you gotta get your setup. You gotta get your setup dialed, bro.
Dialed in.
I know you posted your setup the other day, but like, you gotta. Here, this. Here we go. This is probably too bright now.
Kyle just commented, plug it into the wall, question mark, why run it with a brick? How many
I don't
amps?
know how many amps it's pulling, brother. I have no idea. I'm not an electrical guy, you know what I mean? Like I don't know the difference between an amp and a watt and volts and all that stuff. Like
Kyle, thanks for the feedback. Well, Kyle's saying I am too bright. He's overexposed and Reed's actually good. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Let's go. What about now? Am I overexposed? I think that light is too much. Like the shadow kind of isn't great.
Let's see here. Maybe this one. What about this light, Reed? What do you think of this light? Is it too dark?
Hold on. Let me look around my camera to see you. Now it kind of looks like you're in like it's like mood lighting or something.
I kind of like it. I'm gonna try it out.
This is too hard for me. Oh shoot. The first 30 minutes of every show is just us dialing in the setup.
Let's see here.
There we go. I like it. Okay. So I just got your newsletter. Schneider had a weak Q4. So I downloaded this app that like is all about earnings, public company earnings. And so now I have keywords, and it'll alert me anytime those words are mentioned in an earnings call. And so I just did like trucking, logistics, supply chain, all this stuff. And so now I get like alerts whenever. And so that's what had me listening to the C.H. Robinson earnings call at like 1 a.m. yesterday. But it's actually pretty interesting. I don't know if you've listened to one of those before.
We should listen to more of those. I saw the Covenant because Covenant Logistics report came out as well. They lost some money in Q4. So we actually grouped the newsletter. The newsletter was Schneider and Covenant. I could pull it up. Oh, it's not featured. 1 second. I gotta go into Ghost. Let's see here. How is my lighting now, Kyle? Is my lighting good? I'm curious. Let's see.
My wife texted me and said that you were too bright. Your old one was too bright. But
yeah,
I feel like
I love that. How we're I had Derek set this up today, and obviously he didn't.
Your forehead's a bit shiny
right now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good.
I honestly think mine's better without the stage light.
Wow.
Paul, my wife just texted me and said you look better now. Not
Thank
perfect, but better.
All right. I guess this light isn't that good. Oh, do not tell that man a dim is light. Shine bright. Thank you, Fitzroy. Alrighty. We have 15 minutes till Trey joins us. We could, you want to do this recap of the newsletter today?
Yeah, look at it. Hold up.
It's going to be interesting to also talk to Matthew Leffler about the Montgomery versus Kariba case. Kariba.
Yeah, I need Leffler. We honestly, am I too dark now? God.
That's good.
We need Leffler. Like Leffler is good at explaining all this stuff, and he also is super fired up about it all. So I'm excited to get his, because I don't know much about that deal.
For sure. Okay, the first story in What's Cooking in Freight today was about AGX Freight shutting down, and Dale Prax was warning everyone that like there's a lot of companies now, or a lot of people impersonating AGX.
Yeah. So
just to be careful out there. Gatik, dude. Okay, this driverless autonomous truck stuff is getting kind of interesting. I know like these are press releases sent by these companies, but this also was on Bloomberg. It got picked up. Like Gatik works with Kroger, Walmart. They work with big brands. I know this is like more like final mile delivery. It's not semi trucks or like medium sized trucks, but it's still quite impressive how like they're operating without humans in Texas, Arizona, and Arkansas right now. And it's like like, I don't know, like, it seems like no one's really talking about that, but well, Sharm just said, I thought you both looked great 10 minutes ago. So we just
good.
Appreciate that, Sharm. And it's like, well, I'm just wondering, like, I mean, it's like we have Waymos right in California. Waymo just actually also launched in the UK. It's in Arizona. It's in Georgia. Like what are your thoughts, Rita? Are we about to see autonomous self-driving trucks like in the next 10 years?
Probably. Dude, where there's a will, there's a way. Like, and this applies to more technology than just autonomous trucks. Like, just really any sort of AI or autonomous agent sort of thing, right? And you can think of a truck as like a physical version of that. It just takes a long time, but like once it works, it's like, and what you know, the unique limitation of the trucks is that obviously they're operating on like public roads, and like there's a safety component, and we're going to be a lot less forgiving as like a society for autonomous crashes than we are with human crashes. You know what I mean? It's like humans crash their cars every single day, like at really, really high rates. And if a human, like, I'm just making up these stats, but like if a human crashes 1 in every 1,000 times, right? But a machine crashes 1 in every 100,000 times, that 1 in 100,000 is going to be less forgiven than the 1 in 1,000. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, and there's just like some sort of like bias we have in that, which makes sense. I mean, I get it. So that's going to be a limiting factor for the trucks, probably until it's just like obvious. But like I saw, you know, just on this topic, I think I saw Ryan Schreiber post something about like how companies, he was like, you know, I you know, hate to break it to you or whatever he says, like all these implementations are failing. Well, like
the cost of AI is just too expensive right now. And that's something that like our podcast on Monday, which is coming out with Ryan Joyce, the CEO of Genlogs, he talks about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but like the cost of like an AI booking a load right now is super high because it's making all these outbound calls and emails, which cost money. And essentially like Genlogs was saying that like if you use your AI with Genlogs, you're able to get those costs down drastically because you could find
it's just better content. It's better. It has better information to work off of. And that makes a lot of sense. But like, I mean, it's to me, in my mind, it's like inevitable. Like the cost is going to come down. It is not going to get more expensive, right? Like the cost of the models, like the underlying models, those drop like like the cost to operate AI drops like every single month. You know what I mean? Like it is only going to go
will
down.
It continue dropping? I've heard two theories here, that either it's going to get super cheap or it's going to get more expensive.
It's not going to get more expensive. I don't think so. And again, take everything I've said with a grain of salt. Like I'm you know, I'm an amateur, but like and I've never tried to implement one of these systems within, you know, a brokerage. But like I just think like where there's a will, there's a way, and there's so much value in like unlocking this. Like it's going to happen, and it's costing them more money. Like sorry, I have to look around to read this. I don't know who's here, but what we're seeing is brokers aren't getting value out of AI agents yet. Yeah, the key word is yet. It's like it is going, like it has to cost money in the beginning. That's how you figure it out. You know, it's and so the companies, like, even if a company like invests and loses money on it, but they like develop the strategy and the policy and they work out the kinks, and over time the cost comes down and they work with these companies to make that happen. I mean, there's tremendous value at the other end of that journey. You know what I mean? And sure, perhaps there's something to be said about like not trying to implement it and letting other people spend their money to figure it out, and then starting to use it in like a year or whatever, or however long it takes. Like perhaps that's a strategy if you don't have the funds to potentially flush down the drain to figure this out. But like my sense is that every company who implements this like at scale, it's going to take kind of fumbling around and potentially losing money on transactions to figure it out. Like that just seems like obvious to me. Like I don't like, it's not like you just turn this on and magically your entire like problems, all your problems are solved. Like I don't see that as like a bad thing, really. I really don't. I mean, obviously you should try to be coming out ROI positive on every transaction, but like, I mean, maybe perhaps that's just not how this works in the early stages. I don't know.
What's your take on the future of like just logistics jobs in general? Because I think this week there was UPS let go of like 30,000 employees and then Amazon let go of 16,000 employees. And actually, Amazon's reasoning for it wasn't, they had like a record Q4. It had nothing to do with them not making money. It was just because they realized like AI is replacing a lot of humans, and they don't need them. And so I'm gonna actually pull up our newsletter from yesterday where we had this written. And Jerome kind of made this question. So like, so Amazon announced another round of corporate layoffs, cutting about 16,000 roles. And here it is, like Amazon's profit jumped nearly 40% last quarter to about 21 billion on more than 180 billion in revenue. Is AI the name of the game as large supply chain companies like Amazon continue to use more AI at the expense of reducing human workers? And I'm wondering, because it's funny because we're actually about to release our SF, like kind of like, it's like a video where we interviewed a bunch of CEOs that run AI companies in SF in July, and kind of have their take on what's happening. And we've kind of seen this through like just humanity and like us evolving. Like there's been different we've evolved to where nowadays we sit by a computer instead of working on the fields. And I'm wondering, like, is AI going to just like replace work for good, or is this going to like, are we going to change the way we work and do something else? And I think there's a lot of worry. A lot of people are worried that AI is just like the end, where all of a sudden humans aren't needed anymore.
Yeah, I don't. My hunch is like, I don't view it that way. I've mostly been like, when I read about this stuff, I mostly just kind of go straight to the source and like kind of leave the logistics realm and just look. Like I listen to the Anthropic CEO talk a lot. His name's like shoot, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. But anyway, if you listen to that guy talk, I mean, and obviously you have to, anytime you listen to somebody's opinion on this, you have to understand their motivation, right? Like if you're talking to the Anthropic CEO and he says that he thinks in the next I think he said like in the next 1 to 5 years, like 50% of entry-level white collar jobs are going to be gone. Like they're not going to be needed anymore.
Yeah.
And obviously he's got he benefits if that actually happens. So perhaps there's some self-fulfilling prophecies in his speech, but like he seems to be pretty adamant that that's just like where it's going. And the canary in the coal mine right now is just software development, right? Like anyone who works in software or is like an engineer knows that AI can write code like better than them, really. And if you go on Twitter and you look at all like the OGs of AI, like Andre Karpathy, like he was one of the like the OG Tesla self-driving guys. Like he's like an OG AI guy, and he's like tweeting, I haven't written my own code in months. You know what I mean? And I, as an amateur developer, like know that I actually literally haven't like, I used to write code all the time for just like pet projects, stuff I was working on. And now I like, don't like, you go into Cursor, you can just do it all. Like the things you can do are ridiculous. And that's just a almost a solved problem at this point. But that's like purely digital, right? And it makes sense that would be the first thing to kind of go. But I do think that it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Sure.
It's only going to get better. The voice agents are only going to get better. The context is only going to get better. Everything's only going to get better. And you have two options as like an individual looking at the landscape. You know what I mean? As somebody who's like in an entry level job, or somebody who's just started a career, or somebody's in the middle of a career, or whatever, you have basically two options. You can like sit there and like put your head in the sand and think like, oh, it won't happen to me, or like, I'm not going to learn about this stuff, or I'm going to ignore it. and just do your thing, or you can be like, okay, like how do I kind of skate to where the puck's going as like an individual and position yourself to be able to take advantage of this. Because from my perspective, it's like all it is just leverage, right? Like that's all. Like humans create tools which enable them to, you know, exert leverage on what they're doing. Just do more with less, essentially. And the people who like learn these systems and learn how to build their own agents and learn how to like get their hands like a bit dirty and get in the weeds, learning how to use all this stuff, like those people are going to be in a perfect position to be able to like take advantage of this. So I really don't think it's like if you sit around and do nothing, you're going to get run over, in my opinion. But if you actually learn how to do more, like as an individual, like your options are going to be, you're going to have like unlimited options, in my opinion. So if I'm just like if I try to, my thought experiment is like, if I were like a 22-year-old like college grad, you know, it's been 10 years since I graduated from college, right? I started at Echo 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But like if I were 20, if I were doing that now, like what would I do? I think I would be like obsessive about learning everything that's going on, not even just in logistics, but just outside of logistics. You know what I mean? Like I'd be learning how to use, I'd be learning every single new tool that comes out. I'd be building my own automations. I'd be using, you know, I'd learn how to use Claude Code. I'd learn how to use the command line. I'd learn basic, you know, software engineering. Like I'd learn the basics of it all. And I would just figure out ways in my day-to-day life to apply automation of my own to do more with less. Like I would be doing that right now, right? And as you do that, it's not going to be like immediately obvious how you apply that to your professional life. But like as time goes on, the more you know, the more you can do, the more you figure it out. Like I just think if you're not doing that right now, like you're screwing up, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. For sure. You got spot on read from Dan.
Dude, it's just honestly like it is literally like the biggest gold rush ever. You know? Like it is in my opinion, and people and I'm like, you know, a huge bull on all this, and I don't really say that often, but like I just really do think that if you are not serious about learning, like you are screwing up big time. And I don't care what your job is. Like I really don't. I don't care if you're an executive. I don't care if you're a 22-year-old kid. I don't care if you're in high school. It's like figure it out, because if you don't, you will be lost. And you're going to be looking around being like, what the heck happened in 5 years? You know, maybe even less, Like the big news this week is this Claude bot thing. And I don't know if you've seen this at all, Paul, because it's really not on LinkedIn. I know I'm not saying obviously I'm not saying you only get your.
So Sharm just shared that. I was able to copy and paste what Sharm sent, because Sharm sent the link in the LinkedIn chat.
Dude,
and it's like I got a private lesson on Claude Cowork and Claude Code. Is this what you're talking about, Reed?
No. Well, Greg Eisenberg, if you follow that guy, he does put out a lot of good content on like kind of the latest AI stuff. So if I were going to send somebody somewhere to learn, just to see what's out there, that's a good place to start. Yeah. But ClaudeBot is essentially like an autonomous agent that you can run on your own machine or in the cloud, and you basically give it access to your computer, and you can communicate with it through like Telegram or WhatsApp. And so I have it installed on my home computer. I can text it via Telegram, and I can tell it to do stuff for me. So I can be like, bro, what are my meetings today? Look up all the people on LinkedIn, summarize who they are, and send me a text before every single meeting and tell me who all these people are. And it'll do that. Anyway, what's up, Trey?
What's up, fellas? Trey. Good to be on the show. Thanks for having me today.
What's good, brother?
This is a fascinating conversation. I kind of wanted to jump in on that conversation before, because some people say that the AI kind of revolution right now feels a lot like what we went through with blockchain, which had a lot of buzz, but then it fizzled out. Yeah. But I don't think this is going to fizzle. I think it's just going to take time. It's definitely going to take jobs. To me, it's Internet 2.0. the internet came. Some people used it just to connect. Other people used it to make money and build a business. AI is going to be the same way. I think some people are going to use it to make money, like you said, the gold rush. Other people are going to kind of fiddle around with it and kind of get somewhat comfortable. Other people are going to fade away, just like people who didn't adopt to the internet, the older generation. They just never adopted to it and used it. So to me, it's Internet 2.0.
I would encourage anyone who's listening who thinks this is like blockchain to pull your head out of your ass. Seriously, for your own good, please take this seriously.
What even was blockchain? I'm so confused by blockchain. Is it just like, I mean, I kind of get like there's just like it's like secure base. It's like kind of like Bitcoin, kind of secure
public ledger
transactions.
Yeah.
Kind of it's basically just like a public ledger where everyone can like, be confident in like the source of truth or whatever.
And that's how Freightwave started, right? It was supposed to be blockchain for freight.
Well, Freightwave started as a freight futures. The beginning of it, and then blockchain became one of the things that they did. It's almost like when you think about Venmo, you make a transaction on Venmo and you write what the transaction was, then it's just kind of a record, a historical record that nobody can edit. It's kind of like that, but I think much more sophisticated. Way over my pay grade, that's for sure.
Interesting. Well, Trey, we brought you on today to discuss some of the events, transportation and logistics events for 2026. I know that you've attended a lot of events in the past. That's where we've also like met many times. Reed attends so many events nowadays for Truck Parking Club. I've kind of stopped attending as many events as I used to, just because of all the travel involved. But I think it'd be cool, especially since it's still early on in the year, to kind of discuss what's happening in terms of events. Which events are the ones that like people should actually attend? And you reached out to me after you saw what we did with the magazine. We had like a couple pages with the 2026 events to look out for. And I didn't realize this, but Trey, I want to pull this up right here so everyone can see it. If anyone wants to go on this website, it's treygriggs.com/industry-events. We're going to pull it up right here. And you do, like, you have everything out here.
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a resource just to help people with their planning of trade shows. A lot of times it's hard to get the information or to know where they kind of fall in sequence. And so I've just been updating this. I started this last year and it goes all the way through December. You can click on any of these just to get to a certain month that you might want to look at. But just let you know when things are falling. There's a lot of things that fall maybe on similar dates. You might want to try to figure out where you're going to go. But these are all hyperlinks so that you can go directly to the website of the event. You can find out information. You can register for the event. So it's just a little resource to help everybody out in that regard. And I have to just make one quick comment to Kyle McNaught. Listen, we've moved on from the Chiefs jersey for this year. We put it away. We're retiring it. So we're moving on to baseball season, hoping that the Cardinals can win a little bit. But this is actually a part of why, Mom, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is how to stand out at trade shows here in just a minute. But this is just a resource to help people with the planning, knowing when events are going to happen and how they can get the information to register, see the agenda, those types of things.
Okay, so I'm going to start zooming in here a little bit for the events. We have Manifest coming up here, in exactly a week and a half. But okay, January's over with. Right now, it seems like there's a DatCon Engage User Conference, or that finished yesterday. So all these events are done with. BGSA was last week. Rita was there.
Correct. C3 just wrapped up as well. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is February. Real Link, that's the retailer one.
I'm going to that.
That's Retail Industry Leaders Association. That's a big customer event for a lot of freight brokers and a lot of truckload fleets that will go to that event. Yeah,
I know brokers love that one just because it's good for actually getting shippers.
I actually made a video. I haven't posted it yet, but one thing, Trey, perhaps you have some opinions on this, but like, before a show, if you're going or your company's going, every company does these like posts where they'll like do like their headshots. Oh, we're going to Manifest. Like, I'm going, you know what I mean? It's just like these, and they're getting, people are really stepping up their design skills, like on these event announcement things. And so I started recording videos and just being like, why is Truck Parking Club going to RELA? You know what I mean? Because I always get asked the question when I'm at these events, like we go to so many events and people are like, well, what do you guys hope to get out of this? Like, why are you guys here? And to me, it's obvious, but to most people it isn't. And so I literally just made a video yesterday, like why we're going to RELA, like exactly that. And anyway, I think I'm going to post it. I think you should.
I think those types of things are great because not only does it communicate why you're there, but it also gives a chance of people to hear your voice, to see your face, and it feels like a connection. So even if they maybe don't know you or have never met you before, they're going to feel much more comfortable going up and talking to you because they've heard your voice and they now know what you want, why you want to be there. So to me, video, like those types of things are great. Plus they stand out because like you said, everybody's doing the graphics. And there's nothing wrong with the graphics, but having a little video about why you're going to be there.
You guys want me to play this video? You guys tell me if I should post this.
Yeah, let's play the video. I could pull it up. You want me to pull it up?
It's not. It's not even online. Like it's literally just in my.
Read just about everything that you create is pretty much gold. I would say yes before I even see this. That's what I'll say.
All right, hold on. Let me show it to you guys. How do I?
You want to share a screen?
Yeah. All right.
With sound, if possible. That's gonna be tricky.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
So, video file. Oh, cool. I can literally show a video file on here. Really?
StreamYard's got it going on.
Hello. My name is Reed Looslow. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Truck Parking Club. And Truck Parking Club is going to be at the RELA conference the 1st through the 4th of February, which is this coming weekend, and we're going to have a booth. Now, a common question that I get at shows is, Reed, why is Truck Parking Club at this random conference? It's actually not random. There's method to the madness, but nonetheless, we get this question. And so I thought, in lieu of answering that question 1,000 times in the next couple days, I might just record a video and tell you guys exactly why Truck Parking Club is going to the RELA conference in Kissimmee, Florida, February 1st to the 4th, 2026. Not only are we going, but we have a booth, and here's why.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Why wouldn't you post that?
I don't know. I just
it's
forgot.
good.
I kind of forgot about it until just now.
You should definitely
post that. And then in the future, walk towards the camera, give a little action. You know,
I love being really far because people are always just like, why the hell are you so far from the camera?
What you should do is start really far and just keep getting closer and closer and closer. That's really cool.
Just walk past the camera, even as you're talking. Just walk past the camera. Keep talking. Just, you know.
I'm working on my video production skills, guys. I will improve.
Little by little.
Little by
little. I'll post it. Thanks for giving me the confidence, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome, Reed. Alrighty. So we have February. Okay, Real Link. So Reed, that's what? Today's January 30th. So that's on Monday.
Well, we're driving down there on Sunday. We have to set up a booth on Sunday. So Evan and I are going to drive in the Cybertruck from Chattanooga to Orlando on Sunday.
It's going to be cold in Orlando on Sunday. I saw the weather report. It's going to be crazy cold.
That's what people are saying.
I mean, what's cold? It's 8 degrees here in St. Louis right now. What are you talking about? What's cold?
I mean, weather. I'm going to pull this up real quick.
Freezing.
So Sunday is going to be a low of 26 in Orlando. I mean, that's crazy.
That's below freezing. I'll give that.
I mean, for Orlando,
they have coats down there. They're going to really.
I tweeted about this like an hour ago because like there was. I'm going to pull up this tweet that I had. Give me 1 second.
Walmart in Orlando is stocking gloves and stocking caps this weekend. They're
like I wrote this won't affect produce season, right? Asking for a friend because I'm like, this report right here, these wind chills in Florida at the end of January. I have a feeling that produce season is going to be a little bit delayed. There's no way carrots are going to be ready at the end of February or in February like they used to be. I mean, there's like a lot of produce is about to get, I think, kind of destroyed or it's definitely going to affect produce season, I think.
Wow.
So we might have a soft produce season.
Holy cow.
Those poor homeschool kids that the parents booked Disney this time of year because they're homeschool and they're just it's going to be rough. Bundle up, kids.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
Florida.
That's cool.
So, yeah, that's going to be like Armageddon. Good thing we're driving down there on Sunday. So
I mean, Chattanooga's not going to be much better, or it might be even worse. It's probably going to be worse. So
yeah, I mean, it's been pretty. I don't know. It's been pretty cold up here, but there's like a storm coming too. Anyway, I guess we're here to talk about
Northeast.
We're here to talk about shows. So RELA, and then sorry, I can't. And then Manifest is the week after. but then there's all this other stuff between
And
that.
Geotab
Wine and
is
spirit.
now this is interesting. Geotab Connect is the same time as Manifest in Las Vegas. They're the different places in Las Vegas. So this is one you can double up on. So if you're a trucking company,
Geotab Connect. What's Geotab Connect? I'm gonna pull it up right now. I've never heard of Geotab Connect before.
Yeah, it's a user. It's kind of user conference.
Yeah, they're like the in-cab. They make in-cab stuff. They make ELDs. They make or I guess that's their main product, right?
So you can kind of get 2 for 1 because the main day of Geotab is Wednesday. The main day for Manifest is usually Tuesday. So you could double up and go to both of these in Vegas and save a little bit of money if you're a trucking company looking to go there, or if you're a technology company looking for trucking companies. So it's right there in Vegas the same time as Manifest.
11 days away. Less than 11 days.
Yep.
There's nothing better than a good double up.
Yeah.
Good double up.
It's a solid double up. It's not the exact same day. It's close enough though that you can stay one more day, get it in. I think it's only $1,000 to attend that one, so it's not a huge spend. So look into both for your trucking company.
Trey, are you going to be at Manifest?
I will be at Manifest. Yes, yeah. Coming in on Sunday, playing golf. My boy Wasim Manair as always, and watching.
Nice.
And I'll be there for Manifest. Yeah.
And okay, Reed. So you're going to be at Real Link, and then you're coming back to Chattanooga for a few days, and then you're flying out to Vegas for Manifest. Are you? Yeah. What other shows are you going to be? Are you going to be at any other shows in February or no?
I will not. We are. I'm leaving Manifest. I'm getting in the truck with Chris Thomas, and we're gonna do a delivery in Fernley, Nevada, on Friday. And then I think we're trying to get a load from like Montana or something down somewhere on the East Coast. So I'm gonna be riding in the truck with Chris for like a week after Manifest. Just kind of like. So literally, I'll probably be doing FreightCon Friday, like from the truck, like on that Friday. So, my camera setup will be good.
I've been wanting to do that for years. I just got to make it happen. My kids graduate high school in 2 years, then I can have a little more time, and I plan to get in Chris's cab. And
yeah. So we're gonna road trip, and then we're going to the Broker Carrier Summit cross border thing. I'm not going, but we are going.
First time event, new thing. First time event.
Yeah, I kind of want to go. I've never been to Laredo. Like I would go.
I want to go to Laredo too. I've been talking to Adrian Garcia, and he's been telling me that we should go to Laredo to film some content.
Yeah, you definitely should. I'd second that.
Yeah, I think that would be good. What I wanted to say is crap, I forgot, but I'm gonna keep moving. So February we have February is gonna be pretty packed. There's a lot of conferences. It's kind of like warming up, and then in March is kind of okay compared to April and January. It's a little bit slower from event wise, but Food Shippers of America, that's a big one for brokers. That's invite only, right? If I'm not mistaken, is that food?
Well, Food Shippers of America is sold out, and it's sold out quickly because the people that go each year, they renew right away, and they have a limited amount. It is one of the more exclusive events to get into. It's very difficult to get into. It's almost like season tickets. Once you got them, you better just keep buying them because otherwise it's going to be hard to get back in.
So, Trey, have you ever been to Food Shippers of America?
I've never been to Food Shippers because I've always been on the vendor side for brokers and truckers. And so selling directly to shippers was never really in my thing. So I never had a reason to go and never got into it. So I still have not been to Food Shippers of America, but I always hear it's a phenomenal show. There's a good golf tournament there. And it is as exclusive as it gets. It is so hard to get into that show.
Got it. Reed, have you been to Food Shippers?
I have not.
It might be a more difficult ticket than BGSA. I think it probably is.
Yep. Yeah, no, I have not. I'm going to TPM. I've been to TPM twice.
How is TPM?
TPM is like probably, just from a size standpoint, probably the biggest show of the year.
I think it's bigger than Manifest.
It might be.
Really?
Manifest claims around $6,000, 6,000.
Yeah. Trey, I think this year is gonna be over 7K. That's what it says on the website.
Yeah.
I think 7,200.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it is. I don't. I mean, don't quote me on that. I'm not certain. It is very large, though. I mean, but it's mostly international.
It's freight forwarders, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's forwarders, it's ocean lines, it's big drayage, it's drayage carriers, it's ports, it's a good show. It is
kind of like Manifest 2.0 in many ways. It's got every part of the supply chain comes to that event. So it's very similar.
And it's
have you been to it, Trey?
I went to it years ago. I want to say back in like 2016, I went to a JOC show. I'm not sure if it was TPM or not, but I've been to a couple of their events. in the past. They do run good events. I've only heard good things about it. People keep going back. You can always just tell by, does the attendance keep growing? Does it, do people, is there a buzz around it? You always hear a lot of good things out of it.
And then Mid-America Trucking Show, Matt's. I know Reed's going to be there. That's actually where we're going to blow.
Yeah, we did. Oh, dude, I forgot.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
we met 3 years ago at Matt's.
Yeah, that's true.
In person. I mean, we were connected online on Twitter before, but so I mean, Matt's. I was surprised. I only went to Matt's once, and that was 3 years ago. I was surprised just like how massive it is. But what's cool about it is like, I mean, it costs like $20 to get in, or you could even attend for free. Like there's like you go there and there's so many families with kids and like just walk around. Yeah, it kind of felt like the auto show at McCormick in Chicago that takes place every year. That's kind of how I felt it was, but just for trucking. I mean, it's massive. It's huge.
Yeah, I love seeing truck drivers bring their whole families out. I got a chance to interview people back when I went to that show several times, and they throw their wife and kids in the cab and drive all the way from California and be a part of the show. And it's just very unique, very fun, family friendly. It almost feels like trucking meets like county fair kind of feel. That's the feeling that it has. And it's so good. Food's good. A lot of good fried food.
Yeah, we're gonna blow it out. We're gonna blow it out of the water this year at Matt's. We have
they got RV parking. I mean, come on.
We're debuting our truck at Matt's, so we're gonna have our truck outside, and we're gonna have a booth outside, and then we also have our giant booth inside. We will have the dancing trucker at our booth.
Do you guys have a truck and trailer combo? Are you bringing that, or is it just a?
TBD on the trailer, but we definitely are bringing the truck. The truck is going to be good.
Awesome.
That's going to be awesome. And yeah, we're going to have a bunch of people there. And yeah, it's
you getting your CDL, man. You get to drive that beast.
No. It's since it's not commercial, not for hire, and it's a classic truck. You as long as you're hauling like under 26K, you don't need a CDL. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's easy to drive though. Yeah. Does not mean it's easy to drive. Yeah, Matt's is a great show. If you like, I would encourage anyone to just check it out. I mean, it's a good event. The good vibes are good. There's all sorts of people there. Like, it's a great time.
Take your family. Louisville's great. Little vacation destination. It's like spring break-ish, so it's close for the kids.
54,000 attendees plus 54,000 plus attendees. That's crazy.
I mean, they take the whole expo center, and it's huge. That Louisville Expo Center is massive.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's keep going. Let's see what we got. We have 12 minutes left till Matthew Leffler joins. So we have this is the.
I'm going to that too. The IWLA.
That's
the International Warehouse Logistics Association. I can't remember what the L stands for. It's warehousing. That's the day after Matt's in San Antonio. So we will be at that as well. Literally the next day somehow. So yeah, I'm not sure how that's working out yet, but we'll figure it out.
It's crazy how many conferences you go.
Right. Yeah,
dude. So much
traveling. But dude, I mean, and here's something, Trey. This is a good question for you. Perhaps you'll have some advice for the audience. Like, for us, like quantifying the ROI of a conference is like relatively simple. It doesn't. I guess how would you encourage people to think about the ROI of an event? Right. Obviously, it costs a lot of money to go to these things. If you're paying $1,000, $2,000, sometimes more for a ticket, plus your airfare, plus a hotel. I mean, it ends up being, $4 or $5 grand in some situations, maybe more,
at least
per person. Right.
There's really two things to think about when it comes to this. For some people, what they're really trying to get out of it is brand recognition. Maybe they're getting started and they're trying to get their brand out there and they're not necessarily focused on revenue just yet. That's a little bit more obscure in the nature. You kind of have to spend the money and go and do some of the things and try to get as much buzz as you can. If your goal is to get revenue, though, it is pretty easy to track what you get from the conference, especially if you are using a spreadsheet or a CRM where you can track these things. Most conferences are going to cost per person around $2,500 to $3,500 for the registration, the ticket, the hotel, the food, all of that. If you can double up in a hotel, for example, 2 guys in a room, maybe you can save up some money on that. But about $2,500 to $3,500 per person, and you have to look at what your product is and how much you charge, and what's a typical contract. So You know, if you get one customer that stays for a year, what's the ROI on that? So again, it's all about just tracking that and keeping good records. This is the thing that a lot of people do is they think they got to go to everything. They don't track it very well. They don't prep very well. And then they wonder if they got anything out of it, and they're guessing. And sometimes it turns into like, well, we got to go because we went last year, or it's kind of a vacation for us to go do this sometimes, or we want to play golf, or there's other reasons because they're not very good about tracking the results. So what I would say is when you're thinking about these things, obviously you got to figure out, is this the kind of show that's going to be worth it for me? Who's my target audience? Are they going to be there? If you're not sure, then go and see for yourself, try it out one time. Do not exhibit in these things if you've never been to a show before. Only go and attend and get a vibe for it and get a feel for it. You can always exhibit the next year if you feel like you need to. And even I would caution you against getting into that, because once you exhibit, if you stop exhibiting, people are going to notice. So you got to be very cautious about exhibiting too early, but track these things. So who are you meeting with? Set up meetings in advance as much as you can. They're going to give you an attendee list. Go through that. Spend time going through that. If you got to spend a little extra time on the weekend during the football game, spend some time doing that. Make sure you see who's coming. Try to set up meetings. But then more than anything is track what goes on there. So if you have a meeting with somebody, you need to have a lead source in your CRM or in your spreadsheet. You have trade show, then detailed lead source, which is the exact trade show. Now you can look back and say, how many meetings did we get out of this? How many demos did we get? How many customers did we get? How long did the customers last? And then you can say, okay, we spent $4,000 going to this show and we got 3 customers out of it. And over the course of a year, they paid us $58,000. Well worth it. We're going to go again. Or you might say we spent $6,000 on Manifest. We sent 2 people. We got 1 customer. They paid us $12,000 for the year. If we can't do better than that this next year, then maybe this isn't the show for us. But you don't know that if you don't track it. You just can't make those decisions. Otherwise, you're just guessing. And I'm telling you, I've been able to consult a lot of companies on trade show strategy. I am blown away by how much money companies spend on trade shows and do not know this information. They don't know the results. They're just going because they feel like they have to go. It's the cost of business. It's not the cost of business. With things being virtual, you can build a lot of business without going to these events. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to these events. I love going to these events, but you may not need to go to as many as you think you need to go to. Because there might be 3 or 4 that are really, really good. Go to those, spend the rest of your time with customers. I think there's an argument to be made that, you go to some trade shows, but then you don't go to others because maybe they're not as good. And you take those resources and you use it for maybe direct customer visits or customer prospect dinners in Chicago or in Phoenix or in Chattanooga, wherever it might be. And that might be a better use or a better spend of those resources than going to 20 trade shows in a year. Maybe you just go to 5 or 6 and you do some other creative things with your money.
Well, and obviously selecting the show is all about who you're trying to get in front of, right? Now, and which goes without saying, it's obvious. And that's one of the reasons why we, when we think about that, why we go to like 70 shows in a year is because our audience, if you will, is insanely wide, right? It's not like I'm going and I'm only looking to try to get in front of Fortune 500 food shippers who move consumer packaged goods. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if that's my audience, I might only go to 1 or 2 shows a year. But like with us, where our property side, we work with companies from 30 different verticals, towing companies, self-storage operators, trailer leasing companies, CDL schools. Each one of these is like its own micro community, and each one of those has their own set of shows that they all do. There's an association for each one. We go to that. There's often more kind of secondary, tertiary shows in each vertical, and we go to all those. And that's how people are like, oh my God, you guys go to so many shows. And I'm like, if you understood our business, it would make a lot of sense to you. Because if we go to a show and we get a property, it's worth it. If it's a good one, so that's why we go. But also it's hard. It's easy to forget that there is a lot of unquantifiable stuff that comes out of going to shows too, right? You might go to a show for 2 years and see the same person and not do anything, or nothing happens, but then the 3rd year it does, and it wouldn't have happened if you didn't go the first 2 years. And so there's a lot of kind of like long tail stuff here that you don't that falls through the cracks from an attribution or a measurement standpoint. It's basically just like, face to name, years and years and years of time, and then finally all at once it works out. You know what I mean? And so it's don't obviously do what you're saying, I think, Trey, like measure, but like you need to have some wiggle room in there to like understand like what it takes to build to something big too, you know.
Well, and that leads me to another point, because you make a really good point, and that is you want the time that you have and the people that you meet there, you want that to last as long as possible, whether it be multiple years. So another tip that I have for people is when you see who's going to an event, try to schedule meetings, you try to meet up with them, those types of things, but also take the time to connect with them on LinkedIn so that they're now part of your network moving forward. So it's not just, I only saw you in Vegas, we didn't get a chance to catch up, but now there's the semblance or the beginning of a relationship and being in the same network on LinkedIn afterwards. So it's not just preparing to go, but also building your LinkedIn network as you go, because that will build over time. People see your content. That might be the reason why you end up getting a meeting with somebody.
Man, I am so bad at that. I literally do not do that.
Yeah, well, start doing it. By the way,
I haven't sent more than one connection request in probably the last 3 months. Like,
you probably get plenty of connection requests from other people reaching out to you. I'm sure.
You post a lot of content, Reed. You know, like I think it's different for you because you're so recognizable on LinkedIn.
The I'm bringing this up is so you guys can pump my tires. That's the only reason.
Well, you know, I kind of want to bring this up, Trey. We only have a couple minutes here left before Matthew comes on. I'm actually considering for the first time ever actually getting a booth at TIA this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not. I haven't looked at the cost or anything like that, but I just think it'd be cool to have like a media booth along, like, you know, where we could have like do interviews, but also sell a magazine and have the magazine featured.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I should do it.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that at all, because I think like you have to think about why would you want a booth, and for you with media stuff, it makes sense to have a central location, have a place where all the people are going to be. Like you couldn't do that out in the hallway, or at least really do it in an effective way. They probably wouldn't like you doing it that way. I think that one makes a lot of sense. What bothers me a lot is when people spend a lot of their money on exhibiting and they don't even really have a product market fit yet, or they're just getting started. It's like they're feeling the pressure to do that. You know, don't give into that pressure early on, because once you start exhibiting, if you don't, eventually people are going to be like, oh, what happened to XYZ? They were here last year and now they're not here.
The rumor mill gets going.
Yeah. And so it's like, you know, just take your time to exhibit. You just don't need to do it right away. You know, go to the event. You can do a lot of good guerrilla marketing and networking and get a lot out of it before you have to exhibit.
We could probably spend a whole show talking about how to actually run a good booth too. You know what I mean? It's like, it is.
Okay. Maybe we do that.
Let me tell you this. You got to get people in your booth for reasons other than your product. You have to get them in your booth. And so I remember when I was at DAT, one of the things they did really well is they used to have TV screens up. And it seems like there was always a sporting event going on at some point. And if there wasn't, we had access to YouTube. If you play like a classic sporting event, or if there's a live sporting event going on, if your show is during the middle of March Madness, put the games up there. People will swarm around just to watch the games. There's certain things you can do. I know that there was one company at Manifest last year. I think they had a simulator, golf simulator where you could go and hit some drives or whatever. It's like, I want to go do that. You know, I want to play some golf here or do whatever. So be creative about how you can get them into your booth without it being about your product, and start to build a relationship. Otherwise it's totally transactional and it's just not as good. Not as good. I
agree. Trey, real quick, just to wrap up here, what is your favorite conference of the year?
That's a great question. If you had asked me this 4 weeks ago, I would have said Manifest, because it's the one conference where everybody comes together. And I don't really like Vegas. I like the golf in Vegas, but I'm not a big fan of Vegas. It doesn't do it for me. But what does it for me is the fact that everybody's there, from, you know, logistics, trucking to warehousing, robotics. Like, everybody's there. And this is one of the few shows where that's the case. And I just think it's got a really good vibe. I think Manifest does a good job, not only of making sure that sponsors are happy, but also making sure the attendees have a good experience. So again, you asked me 4 weeks ago, I would have said Manifest. However, I had the opportunity to MC the Bulk Freight Conference with Jared Flynn down in Branson. And man, I just fell in love with that conference. It is just, it's a niche conference. It's not something everybody would go to, but if you're in bulk freight, like, it's totally worth it. It's just very family friendly. Jared's just an incredible guy. So I'd have to say that right now, that's what I'm most looking forward to already in 2027 is the Bulk Freight Conference.
Good to know. Well, Trey, thanks so much for joining us today. It was fun to have you on and talk. I'm sure we'll have another edition here soon to go over, because we finished at April. We didn't even go. We even go.
I know. We'll have to do this again in the summer and talk about the fall. I mean,
we could do Q2, so we could do in April. We could do a rundown of the best conferences for Q2.
All for it. And if anybody just has any questions or want to talk strategy or an outside voice, I'm always happy just to jump on a call for half hour, an hour with the team and talk through that. Robert Bain. Yeah, Robert Bain and I have some history in Vegas. It's you that I like. It's not Vegas. It's you, my friend. It's you and being by your side. That's really what I care.
Shout out to Rob.
Can't wait
There
to
we
see
go.
you. Appreciate it, guys.
Right.
Thanks for having me on.
I'll
Thanks
see
for
you
joining
in
us.
Vegas, brother. See
Take
ya.
care, folks.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right, I'm going to get Matthew on here. Hello, Matthew. Good morning and happy birthday to you. Is it your birthday today or was it yesterday?
Unfortunately, it was yesterday. This is the look of a 41-year-old man. Thank you for
41.
having me, gentlemen.
There you go.
Your internet connection
coming on.
looks like it's 41 years old, brother. Why are you so pixelated?
Oh, is it pixelated right now?
A little bit, yeah. It's
Okay, let
pixelated.
me see if I can change
It could
that.
just be the old age. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Let me jump. Let me see if I can fix this. It shouldn't be. I'm hardwired in. Is it still pixelated?
A little bit. It's not too bad. It's manageable.
I got to be able to do something about that. I don't want to pixelate for you guys. Am I still?
You sound good. You sound good.
Oh,
And
you know
man.
what's
good. It's all good.
Reed, you know what's funny? I've been to Matthew's house before, and we actually did an interview in that room right there. At least I think
Absolutely.
yeah, and then I was in your basement too, and you were doing your live show with Charlie.
Those were simpler
Charlie.
times. Things have changed so much since
Yeah.
then. Am I still
No.
pixelated, or am I
No,
looking?
you
No,
look
you're
good.
good. You're good now.
You
You're
look
good.
Let's go. Look
That
at us
was,
go.
I think, that was August 2022, wasn't it?
In the before days, the long ago. Happy we finally made it to reconvene in this conversation.
Yeah. No, this is great. And Dale Prax is wishing you a happy belated birthday.
Thank you,
so-
Dale. I appreciate you, my friend. We made it. They said it couldn't be done, but look at us. We did it once again.
Matthew, you've really, I think, taken over the industry from like an attorney perspective or just like legal perspective since we last saw each other. You were just on the up and coming, like up and up, whatever. I keep losing the words there, but you really have taken over in the sense like everyone reaches out to you, Matthew, when it comes to like, legal questions. You have your show with Craig now on Freight Waves. I mean, you do a lot.
I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to get the opportunity to talk about topics that I find interesting. And our industry is hungry for understanding how the law impacts them. And I think that's what it really kind of moves to. It's nothing that I don't think I specifically do, but I do think people have an interest in understanding this stuff. And I've been fortunate to be on the front end of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a hot case going on right now. We had it in our newsletter. It's the Montgomery versus, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is it Carib or Caribe?
Yeah, Carib. People call it different names. It's a second version of this company. So Carib was actually another company before that, Carib Transport 1. That one went away. And there's a new one, which is Carib Transport 2, which is the plaintiff the defendant in this case that's now before the U.S. Supreme Court alongside our friends at C.H. Robinson.
So tell us a little bit about this court case. What's going on here? What do brokers need to know?
This is the most important court case for brokers across the United States. The question is fundamental. When can a broker be held liable for the negligence of a motor carrier? If a motor carrier has something disastrous happen, can you go back to the broker and say, hey, you should be on the hook for this issue? And what we have seen is the federal circuit courts, the appellate courts, have come up with different answers. And now we finally have a case that's going before the Supreme Court that will answer this question. And it has been phenomenal to follow this case, read about it, and research it, because there's a lot of cool stuff happening right now.
Yeah, I see you wrote an article for Freight Waves here.
Yeah. So what this article kind of discusses this thing called an amicus brief. So what an amicus brief is for the non-lawyers, it's called a friend of the court brief. It's when somebody who's not a part of the litigation says, hey, I got an opinion about this litigation. Can we talk about it? And in this particular amicus brief we break down, it's really found by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is the largest business organization in the world, over 300,000 members, millions of members through the local chambers of commerce. And they came out on the side of C.H. Robinson saying brokers should not be responsible for the negligent hiring of motor carriers. And it's an interesting brief because the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has a pretty good success record.
What? So just cliff notes on the case.
Yeah.
Like the history.
Yeah. So what it all boils down to, we can talk about this specific case, but all these cases kind of follow this pattern. And the pattern is such like this. Broker hires a motor carrier. The motor carrier, accepts the deal, goes off and picks up the freight, and they're off driving, going somewhere. And then something happens, whether the driver has a mistake, they fall asleep, they roll over, whatever the issue is, something catastrophic happens. And then a lawsuit is filed. Usually we all kind of know that the driver is responsible if they were negligent. We know that their bosses, the motor carrier, is likely responsible. And then you ask, well, who else can I go after? Who else has the potential to be responsible? And they look at the broker and they say, broker, if it wasn't for you, this truck would never be here. And because they're here, we think you ought to be some form of liability. But what has traditionally been the case is brokers are in charge of price, route, and service. They're not touching the freight. They don't take control of the freight. They don't operate the truck or maintain the truck or own the truck. So to have the broker liable is a fairly new phenomenon. And the circuit courts have looked at this thing called federal preemption that would stop the lawsuits, and they've come up with different answers. So if you're in the Ninth Circuit, which is like California and Washington and Oregon, the broker might be liable. But if you're in the Seventh Circuit, like Illinois, Indiana, or Wisconsin, you're probably not liable. And so that question, that disparity, is what is really at issue here in this case before the Supreme Court.
And so what is the Supreme Court, what is the outcome of this going to be? Is this going to set the rule for every lower court?
Yeah, so that's the beautiful thing about how we are watching the federal judiciary in action. When you are an appellate court, so like the middle intermediary, you're able to set the rules for everything underneath you, but you can't touch the people across in different appellate courts. But when SCOTUS weighs in, when the Supreme Court of the United States comes in and says, we're going to make a ruling, it binds everybody. It binds the states, it binds the feds, and these claims, if they're ultimately found to be preempted, they go away for everybody. So it is incredibly important. And we finally have, again, the Supreme Court weighing in, and we'll have an answer sooner than later.
So why do you think, Matthew, that the Trump administration backed C.H. Robinson in this situation?
Yeah, it's a great question. So previously, the Biden administration had said, no, we think brokers should be responsible. We think brokers ought to have some skin in the game. And as we've watched these amicus briefs come in, we have the TIA. Obviously, they think brokers shouldn't be liable, but you also have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But to your point, the federal government steps in, and the federal government says, look, the entire apparatus of these laws was designed to not allow a patchwork. We don't want to have every state having different rules for how people are liable. We believe that we need one singular version of this, and they came in favor of C.H. Robinson and the TIA, which is brokers or intermediaries. They're not in the position to tell you if a motor carrier is safe or not. That's the federal government's perspective. And ultimately, for the feds, they say brokers can't do what we do better than we do it. We are the ones who do this. We're not going to have a bunch of different states setting up the rules for what is the safest way or the right way to hire a motor carrier.
Mm-hmm. So TIA is alongside C.H. Robinson here?
Yeah, for TIA, for the Transportation Intermediaries Association, this is the largest association for brokerages in the country. And brokers today move, according to TIA's own records, about $343 billion a year. So they are moving a ton of freight. And the TIA's entire job is to advocate for their members before Congress, before the judiciary. And so my good buddy over at Benish, he's the main lawyer who's handling the TIA's amicus brief. He's out there in front, like, we do not want brokers to be held liable in these cases. It's unsustainable for our business models.
Okay. And so where are we at right now in terms of the Supreme Court? Because last week was when the news came out that the Trump administration is backing them. There was the amicus brief. And so where are we at right now?
So everything is getting filed in. So everybody who has an opinion on this case is getting their opinions in. One of the interesting amicus briefs that I've written a little bit about was 29 states and the District of Columbia all filed an amicus brief led by the state of Ohio saying, we want brokers on the hook. We do not want to have brokers able to circumvent our state regulations on safety. So you have Democratic states, conservative states, liberal states, all of them saying we want to have brokers in this game. So you have the states on one side, then you have the federal government, the TIA, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. What we know happens next is likely, I think it's March 4th, is the oral argument for this case, where C.H. Robinson will have their position, the plaintiffs, Montgomery, will have their position, and then the U.S. government has actually asked C.H. Robinson, can we have some of your time so we can argue before the Supreme Court as well? So C.H. has generously given some of their time to the federal government to advocate for their position as to why brokers ought not to be held responsible.
I mean, isn't the ramifications of them being held responsible are far-reaching, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I mean, that's like fundamentally changes a broker's job in every transaction.
It would absolutely do that. So you become, and that's what the plaintiff and some of the states want. They want the broker to be the guarantor, to be on the hook for these things. And the entire business model of brokerage, every aspect of it, even the laws we have on the books now, is predicated on them not being held responsible.
Yeah.
You couldn't use a broker if they're ultimately going to be on the hook. Brokers are not legally required to carry this type of liability insurance, so they often don't. And the big brokers, your CHs, your Echoes, all them, they do have insurance. They can handle some of these bigger suits. But for small brokers, if you're on the hook for liability, one accident and you're toast. One accident and you're gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so like I was always taught, like I became a freight broker exactly 11 years ago. And I remember this was after one of the court cases between C.H. Robinson. I think there's a court case, like in the early 2000s.
There's been a lot of these cases. Yeah. So for the last, let's say, 20 years, we've been seeing these cases pop up, and each appellate court will come up with their ruling. So sometimes, to your point, CH is found liable, and here they go spending some money. Sometimes they're not. But because the federal circuits are all split with different answers to this question, you never know what's going to happen. So having some clarity at the federal level by the SCOTUS is phenomenal. I mean, this is why this case has gotten so much public attention, because it is fundamental to the business model of brokerages.
Sure. I mean, because I remember like in the training, while I was in training at the brokerage, we were taught like about this court case. I forgot exactly which one it was, but it was in the early 2000s between C.H. Robinson, and C.H. Robinson was found liable for hiring a company. I think it came down to the fact that like the broker like kind of made the driver like hurry up because it was like he was running late, and then he caused an accident and killed a couple people. Yeah. I forgot all the details about it. But we were told like you can never rush a driver because like we could, if there's an accident, we're going to be held liable. Like in this situation, let's just say the Supreme Court rules that brokers are not held liable. In that situation where like if a broker does hurry up a driver, would he still be, or would they be still held liable in those circumstances? And also like, let's just say you hire like a carrier, like Danielle was mentioning, like, with like a really bad safety score, will they still be held liable, or would it be just like no brokers held liable no matter what?
This is a great question you have. And I think it even ties into what Dale and Danielle have mentioned in the chat, that the vast majority of motor carriers have absolutely no information with the FMCSA. I mean, they've filed their paperwork, but no one's ever looked at their trucks and trailers. And there you could say, there's a whole bunch of technology you can buy or borrow or lease or subscribe to that'll help you identify this. But this is the fundamental question, is what are the regulators doing? And I'll give the example. The FMCSA, I love the FMCSA. They have about $1 billion a year budget, and their job is to regulate 500,000 motor carriers, 4,000 interstate bus companies, 25,000 brokers, millions of drivers. What are they able to do? And what we find happening, why this becomes the issue, is the minimum insurance that a motor carrier has to carry in this country is for just general freight is $750,000. That number was established in the 1980s. And if you go to the hospital with somebody, 2 weeks, that number is gone. You've evaporated all of the insurance proceeds. So plaintiffs and states are saying, what do I do? Who's responsible? And they look at someone like CH or Echo and they go, these folks have billions of dollars. They have the ability to say this motor carrier is safe or not. And so there's this gut reaction saying, well, the brokers have a ton of money, allegedly, and they're the ones who put the driver here, allegedly. We want them on the hook. But to your question of what do you do then? Like if you allow brokers to be held liable in the negligent hiring cases, this is what happens. Every single broker is sued every single time. And I look at the case of Hope Trans. Hope Trans is a fascinating case. And the way Hope Trans rolled out is USPS is your shipper, Covenant is your broker, Hope Trans is your motor carrier, and then you have a driver. driver falls asleep, kills a family, and you go back and say, well, who's at fault? The out of service rate for Hope Trans, when you look at their safety data stuff, 35%. 35% of their trucks and trailers on the road at any given time were unsafe at any speed. So we have this really strange situation where motor carriers are poorly maintained, underinsured. And who can you go after? It's the brokers. And the brokers are saying, what do you want us to do? We called the shipper. We found them money, found them a load. We went to the motor carrier and said, hey, can you do this? The federal government says they're fine. I have this and this and this subscription, and yet you're still going to sue me? And that's the issue. That's why brokers have been screaming for decades for this case to go to the Supreme Court, but SCOTUS is waiting for it to percolate. Let it percolate. Are there more descriptions, more discrepancies in the circuits? Now we have 5 circuits that have all weighed in. So now SCOTUS is like, all right, bring him in. We're ready. We're ready for this one. Let's do it.
Leffler, are you going to be like live from the Supreme Court for this? Like, I mean, if you're not, I'm going to be kind of upset.
So what I'm hoping to do is the oral arguments are streamed live. So most people cannot get inside the Supreme Court. If you're press, you can. If you've been to the Supreme Court, maybe you can. But realistically, it's a lottery. So my goal, my plan, just like I did with the IEPA case, which was the tariff case, we'll stream that. We'll have that audio going out to people to react to and think about. But realistically, the moment the U.S. Chamber of Commerce filed their amicus brief, we kind of knew the end of the story, because the Chamber of Commerce has an 80% success rate. So if they're on your side, things are looking pretty good for you.
And the Chamber of Commerce's perspective is just like, guys, let's be reasonable here. If we rule if we rule against the broker, that's going to fundamentally alter just the entire business model.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way to look at it, and that's exactly right. So if you look at the 5 different lobbying organizations, like the Business Roundtable, there's a whole bunch of these companies that jumped in there. Well, there's a question. So pushing drivers to deliver outside of hours on paper logs. So on recorded lines, you're liable for pushing drivers to go beyond regulations. Yeah, that's a good point. So let me be very clear for everyone listening. Don't take legal advice from a podcast. If you think you need a lawyer, you probably do. It's not me. Unless you're paying me, then I'm your lawyer. It's great to see you again. But don't take legal advice from the internet. If you think you need a lawyer, you probably do. And you ought to hire that lawyer. So the reality is, like, yes, you can get in trouble as a broker if you start directing things your driver does. If you start saying this is an employee, or if you make characterizations like, oh, this is someone who works for me, or you have to go do this route at this time, and all these things, you could be potentially responsible or liable for essentially being a co-employer, being a boss. And then there's vicarious liability because you're actually the employer of that trucking company. Most people have kind of escaped that liability. It's not hard to navigate that these days, but it's something that people still have to be aware of. But you don't want to tell the driver like, hey, you're out of hours. Just keep going. You're fine. But that's the problem with the states. They're looking to hold the broker responsible for the activities of that motor carrier.
Yeah, it's
more common.
I mean, it's pretty interesting. I mean, if they've got an 80% hit rate, then it sounds like if you're placing bets, you're placing it on CH essentially.
Yeah, I think CH is going to win this. What I would say, and this is really important for everyone listening, is that ultimately this is not the end, right? So what's happening in this Supreme Court case is the Supreme Court is looking at an act of Congress and interpreting what the act means. Did it actually mean to exclude brokers from liability from allegedly negligently hiring a driver? And that is a legal question on the text. If ultimately the Supreme Court says, yeah, this is definitely preempted, the brokers are not going to be liable. If that's what happens, that's fine. Go back to Congress and have them pass a different law. You can always change the law through the legislature. So even if people go, oh, this is the end of the world, truckers are always going to be on the hook and brokers are never on the hook, there's ways you could address that through a different method. It's just not the Supreme Court, not this Supreme Court anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. So besides this, what? I mean, I feel like there's a bunch of other stuff going on too.
There's a million things. I mean, we don't have a ton of time, but I'd say for everyone who's watching this, who's been paying attention, the most important case in my lifetime, and I'm again 41 years old, is already been heard at the Supreme Court, and we are waiting now for an opinion. This is the tariff case.
Yeah.
This is the VOS selections, or also known as the learning resource case. It is about the reciprocal tariffs that were put in after Liberation Day of last year, and it is one of the most interesting cases about federalism and all of the things about checks and balances. And I'm so excited for that to have an order. We're just refreshing our browser every day waiting.
I mean, that's like imminent, right? I mean, it's like it could happen at any point.
Yeah, it could be any day. It could be any day.
Why are you saying, Matthew, that this is the largest court case in your lifetime?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what you have to think about, I'm going to put my civics hat on for everybody. Our government is a three-legged stool. It's a legislative, it's a judiciary, it's an executive. Each one has essentially the same power as the others, and they check and they balance each other. Well, the Congress has two very clear powers, two incredibly important powers that are just for them, just for them. Their first power is the ability to declare war. Can't do it any other way. Now, we've had things over the last 60, 70 years that may question that, but ultimately the power to declare war is in Congress, and the power to raise revenue, to generate taxes. That is the singular purview of the legislator. So what we've seen happen with IEEPA is this, and just for the folks who don't know it, it's called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977. What it does is it says the president can declare an emergency, and you can't challenge that. It can be an emergency for fentanyl or trade deficits or the fact that it's snowy, like whatever you want, do anything you want to do. The only way to stop the emergency declaration is for Congress to pass with the majority to say it's no longer an emergency, but the president can veto that. So practically, Paula, the only way you can change the emergency declaration is if you have 2/3 of Congress. And you will never have 2/3 of Congress do anything. And so here's the problem that I see. You may love the tariffs. You may think it's great, but imagine your worst political nightmare gets the office and they have those powers. Day one, emergency. I don't like greenhouse gases. I think climate change is an emergency. Any internal combustion engine, 500% tariff. No, 5,000% tariff. You couldn't stop it. And once the power is there, they don't give it back. So the question before the Supreme Court is twofold. One, did the statute actually authorize raising revenue? It doesn't say tariff at all. Number two, even if it did say you could raise revenue, does Congress even have the power to give that up? Can they give up that power to the executive? So when I say it's the most important case of our lifetime, this is the most important case of our lifetime, because if this power remains, it fundamentally changes the executive branch for better or for worse. And if it gets knocked down, well, there's hundreds of billions of dollars that people want back. Costco has sued the government saying, where's my money? So, this case, it's amazing.
And didn't Trump essentially say there would be no way they could pay the money back?
Well, so part
He's of boys, we already spent it. Like
part of the question when they were at the Supreme Court is, okay, if we find these things illegal, what happens? How hard would it be to return that money? So part of the government's argument is it's just too hard. We'd love, if we get knocked down, we'd love to give it back to you. We'd love to give it back to you. But unfortunately, it's just so hard. So that's part of the story. The reality, Reed, is like if they were told to give the money back, they would give the money back. They can get the money. They got the money somewhere. So it is this interesting question of if you have to return the money, how do you do it? There's been thousands of lawsuits already trying to get people to get their money back. So it's a case that if you want to get like the old Schoolhouse Rock, like this case, it's your case.
And that one's been getting delayed, right? The Supreme Court's been delaying it.
I mean, I'd say to delay is probably a fair characterization. This case moved faster than almost any Supreme Court case that I've ever seen. The case gets filed in the lowest court, the Court of International Trade, in April, and then May it gets overturned, and then the next day it gets reinstated. Then they lose again in I think October, November. So Trump has lost twice now, and then it goes to the Supreme Court before the end of the year. So normally these cases take a decade to get through all this, but this case is fast tracked. Now, the question you ask is why haven't we heard anything? And part of that might be the case that they're trying to figure out an easy landing? Can they land the plane and say, okay, tariffs are illegal, but the ones we've collected, we're going to keep that money? Or they're going to say, well, they were illegal. Let's return all this money. That's the question I suspect SCOTUS is wrestling with, because the U.S. Chamber of Commerce filed an amicus brief opposing the administration. So we saw them come out, and they got an 80% win rate. Read, like, if anyone can win, I think it's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
And so the consequences of it being found not legal, or right. So the tariffs go away, right? They have to give the money back, and the executive has lost that power, essentially.
Yes, and I would say
de facto revenue raising ability.
Absolutely. So with under IEEPA, if I wanted to say I'm going to ban all of these products from this country, 100% you can do that with that emergency declaration. What you can't do is say, or at least what we're asking whether you can do or not, is to say, I'm going to just let that stuff still come, but I'm going to throw a 50% tariff in place. So my feeling is, like, this power does not belong to the United States president. Like, whether you're Republican or Democrat, like, you ought not to want your government run by emergency. And just so we're all clear, we live under at least 10 emergencies right now, and they typically last about 10 years. So, like, there's nothing emergency about emergency declarations, but we do want the power for the president to have, if there's a hurricane or a tsunami or the caldera in Yellowstone explodes, we got to be ready for these things.
So where do you think we're headed here? What do you think the Supreme Court's going to decide?
I feel like they will side against the administration and with the importer, VOS Selections, or the importer, Learning Resources. I think what was really important was it's a 2.5 hour long oral argument, but the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's amicus brief outlined some really good arguments. And you see Justice Roberts, you see Justice Coney Barrett, you see Justice Gorsuch echo those concerns. They all realize we love strong executives. We love our strong executives. But if every president in the future gets the unlimited power to declare an emergency, and the only way to stop it is 2/3 of the Congress to agree, it's insanity. It's impossible to work. And the only time we've seen IEEPA, like, recently have, like, the emergency go away was the COVID emergency. So Congress passed and said, we're not having a COVID emergency anymore. But the president agreed with Congress. If the president doesn't agree, you need 2/3
because they can veto. Because
100%.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to have all the power and no checks and balances. Okay, that's not exactly what the founders envisioned, because they really didn't want a super powerful executive. But here we are.
So is the result of this being struck down? Is this like a demand tailwind? Do you think?
Yes. If they get struck down, I feel every shipper is going to pull every single thing they can forward, because they'll have a window. There are other tariff statutes. The other tariff statutes have time limits and reporting requirements, and the maximum you can mark something up on a tariff. So there's a lot more control on the other things that could be used. But IEEPA gets knocked down, I'm bringing everything. Just get it in. Get it in. I don't care. I want it now. I want it now.
All right. Bullish.
Matthew
Leffler, are you bullish, kind of bullish, or bearish?
Man, I'm always optimistic. I mean, this is the market that anyone can be successful in if you do the right things. Like, bad times build great companies, and great companies can make it through bad times. So I'm always feeling bullish, my friend. I'm always
bullish.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll put the graphic out right after this.
Well, thank you so much for having me, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Leffler.
We did a good job. I'm sorry I was so.
Once this is done, I mean, or whenever there's a ruling, we'll have to have you back.
100%. You let me know. Put me in the game, coach. All right. Have a good day, guys. Take care.
See you later.
Matthew. Take care. All righty. We got a minute left till Demi joins us from Highway.
Dude,
I think we want to take a quick break.
I mean, that's actually a pretty big deal. I mean, Trump's basically entire first year has been about, I mean, tariffs is probably the biggest, at least just ramifications on our industry. It's hard to overstate.
I mean, we've had so many newsletters on tariffs, so I'm curious where it's going to go. I'm going to let Demi in, and I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back. I'll let Demi and Reed kick it off here, and I'll be back in a minute.
What's up, Demi?
Thank you.
What's up,
Doing
Demi?
good. How are you? Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. I'm good. How's your week? How are you?
Man, we were iced in last week in Texas. We just don't do snow very well. I was trapped in my house with my kids for days on
You didn't
end.
lose power, did you?
No, but I had just purchased a house and my pool and hot tub completely froze over.
Oh, good.
Thinking that's
Nice.
I love being a homeowner.
Yeah. Every couple of years, I feel like that happens to Texas, and there never seems to be any change in preparation.
I don't know what they're doing over here. It's just like everything over here just makes the car dirty. You drive in it, sand everywhere, brine. I don't know what they spray anymore, but that's what we've been dealing with. We all just came back into the office yesterday because it was finally safe to drive. We don't know how to drive in this weather. None of us are used to it.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't know if you've listened to the show at all, but I'm curious if you we were just talking to Matthew Leffler about tariffs and stuff like that, and the Supreme Court was about to rule on that. Do you have any opinions on all this?
Man, I really think that like with the tariffs and everything, we've definitely seen a correlation, I think, in term from a vetting standpoint, of how that's impacted carriers just on the road and the type of freight that they're picking up, and the decline in good freight, I guess, is what we would frame that as. Definitely impressive, Matthew's opinions on it. And I think that he's probably the expert there. But we do see correlations in terms of what happens in the government and what we see from a vetting standpoint. It definitely goes hand in hand on both levels. Yeah.
So Demi, sorry for, I guess, interrupting here, but you just Highway released its Q4 2025 freight fraud report, which I think would be kind of cool to dive deep into that. I like how Highway's been releasing these reports. I think that started like a year ago or a few quarters ago. It's relatively new. Okay, from 2025. I'm gonna pull up my screen here for anyone if they want to get it. It's free. Let's see here. How do I get my screen up here? I'm gonna add it back on. Okay, and this is I want to ask you something right off the bat, because yesterday I posted on Instagram about how Serbia is like, it was one of the 3 countries that was included with being tied to freight fraud. It was Serbia, India, and Lithuania. I know there was a change up compared to 2024, because in 2024 it was Mexico, Pakistan, and India. So Serbia and Lithuania joined, and like there's a lot of Serbians that are in the industry. And
are you sharing that right tab?
This is, sorry, I'm gonna, here, give me 1 second. Am I sharing the right tab?
I wasn't sure if you were trying to actually show the report, because you're.
Yeah, well, I want people to. I could show parts of it. I'm gonna actually, if you click read now, you could fill this out.
Okay.
I have access to it, so I'm gonna just maybe pull up that link. However, for anyone that's listening, if you want to get access to the report, it's highway.com/index-reports. But let me see if I could pull it up. Maybe I'll just fill this download now. Okay. Okay.
New lead, Demi. New lead in the system.
Wow.
Yeah. Alert the sales team immediately.
Yeah. So we got top countries right here, and I actually shared this on Instagram. And what happened was, we have a lot of people from Serbia following us, and they started saying like, this is not true, or this is incorrect. They were saying Uzbekistan has a lot more, or Ukraine, Moldova, and like, I'm just kind of like, I'm sure they would all love to hear if you could somehow like disclose how and why Serbia is on this list, and yeah, like whatever you could disclose.
Yeah, I think that all boils down to user activities and what we see in anomalies and the rise in theft events. And we tie that all together and determine which countries are seen the most from a risk perspective. Now, there are a lot of legitimate dispatching companies and companies that are Serbian based, and I communicate with a lot of those. And I think that they know very well, just like with every other country that's listed here, is that the fraud that is seen in those areas is very, very prominent. And I think outweighs some of the really good dispatch services and things that we see there. And it gives you a bad name in a sense. Not to attack the ones that are doing it right. I think the ones that are doing it right, we see them doing it right, and they're able to do a lot of things within our platform, and a lot of companies that they work with, carrier companies, see that too. I think a couple of them have done testimonials for us on LinkedIn that you can go see. We do communicate with them pretty heavily, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of fraud there. It's super prominent. I mean, even here in the States, which is later in that fraud index report of where we see a rise in fraud here in the US, Texas is one of those. I'm in Texas. I know that there's a lot of fraud here. It's just how the industry has moved. Not saying that everyone there is fraudulent. We definitely know a lot of good and legitimate dispatch services and carrier companies that are based there. But I think that the theft that we have seen is a lot more prominent than the good dispatch services that we've seen. We do detect too, Danielle. I think that's a good point. We detect VPN level data in our system and can differentiate if they're actually sitting in Serbia or if they're actually in Uzbekistan. We can make that differentiation. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, that was definitely a hot topic yesterday when we posted it. And I went to Serbia. I've been to Serbia 3 times because there are a lot of brokerages and trucking companies that are very legitimate, do a great job. And I have a lot of friends that, they're like, they're saying that's not true. But then again, I do hear stories of, the other side, which I don't get involved with. It's shady. It's, there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on. But overall, there's just a lot of people involved in the U.S. Logistics industry from Serbia. A lot of them are great people, and I guess it's a shame that like there's also people that are doing the fraudulent activity. But yeah, I mean it is happening for sure, and I know it is. But there are also I want to make it clear there's a lot of great companies out there.
This is just like one of those things where like. Highway is not saying that all Serbian companies are bad. Yeah. Like we are not 5 years old here. And I feel like people's reactions to these reports are always like the kid. It's like, guys, nobody's saying that. Nowhere on their report does it say all Serbian carriers are bad. Like and I feel like every time we have these conversations, and Demi, I'm sure you're having to say this all the time. Oh, we're not saying that all of them are bad. There's definitely good ones. Like obviously that's the case. Like I feel like we got to just move past that whole idea. You know what I mean? Like people in the audience who react negatively to stuff like this, it's just like stop and think for a second. If you're a good carrier and you're based in Serbia, like good for you. Great. Like awesome.
Yeah. And a lot of those are on my radar, and I've communicated with a lot of those good carrier companies too. And I have good relationships with a lot of Serbian based companies. I know a lot of, brokers use teams that sit in Serbia and, other countries, and they're operating and they're legitimate. But definitely the correlation and theft events that we have seen around dispatch companies, around, detected user anomalies that we've seen on our side, it's driven the trend of the countries that we're seeing for fraud.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Demi, what else is going on in this Q4 report that you think is quite interesting that should be talked about?
I think that compromised emails are still on the rise, and we are seeing more involvement from on a federal level. I think that we're definitely seeing more movement in terms of what's being done with that. The impersonation from like legitimate carriers committing theft and how they're doing that through a compromised email inbox, I feel like that's a cop out that's used quite a bit still. I know we talked about that the last time that I was on here, and we're definitely still seeing it because carriers' data is not protected. They're giving access to their inbox to a lot of different entities. So it's no longer a verifiable source of who you're communicating with on a carrier level. That's definitely what we've seen on our side kind of run rampant, and what we're trying to work to prevent. And it's really hard to detect.
So, okay, I saw this statistic right here. Kind of shocked me a little bit. The unauthorized FMCSA contact changes dropped by 99%. Like, what changed there that made that drop so drastic?
I think that it's no longer an attack vector that worked, because a lot of what we receive in that data when we detect new contact changes, they're made a little bit more apparent in our platform. We're also notifying the carriers every time something does change within the FMCSA, because the FMCSA isn't sending them, any sort of communication telling them that that's being done. We're pretty proactive in terms of letting carriers know when their data has changed, emails and phone numbers, when their IP addresses are seen and there's anomalies there. We're just notifying carriers of a lot of that. So we're catching a lot of that fraud right at the gate. And it's no longer an attack vector that we have observed working anymore, because we've had so many measures put around it, and carriers are a lot more, it's in their face a lot more than it was before. So they're able to go in and change their information back to what it is supposed to be. So I think we've seen that taper quite a bit in terms of what we see on a unauthorized FMCSA change.
Do you expect any other like these stats to have such a drop over the next year, or having at least, because like there's the fraudulent email attempts keep going up? Do you think in a year we'll see that go down?
I'm hoping with more intervention, yes. And it's going to be, they're going to have to provide more proof that their inbox is actually compromised. I think last time that we spoke about this, we were trying to get into their camp a little bit in terms of what they're doing in their email inbox and how they're protecting their own data, having them enable two-factor authentication, doing all of these different security measures. Now it's when theft events occur and freight gets stolen and the carrier's like putting their hands up saying like, hey, this wasn't me. I wasn't communicating with you. There's more intervention outside of highway that's occurring. Police report filings and people going and looking at the computers, things like that. I think that we're seeing a lot more success in that and determining who is actually the fraudulent entity behind theft events. I think with more intervention, as we see that throughout 2026, we'll see that compromised email inbox statistic come down a bit.
Yep. I got for you, Demi, some 5 rapid fire questions. Would you want to do them?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Question number 1, is freight fraud getting worse? Yes or no?
Yes, has been for a while.
Okay. Biggest fraud mistake brokers still make today?
Skipping verification, not taking extra step to validate drivers and dispatchers are speaking with, even when it's a carrier they've worked with historically before. We no longer operate on trust.
Okay. More dangerous right now, fake carriers or real carriers gone bad?
Real carriers gone bad. They're harder to detect and much easier to trust because brokers have worked with them before. So I would say that those are the more dangerous entity.
Okay. One behavior brokers must stop immediately if they want to avoid theft?
Assuming identity. If you haven't picked up the phone and called a historically verified carrier phone number and cross-checked emails and phone numbers, you're taking an unnecessary risk.
So like, how often should you be like verifying that? Like every single load? And if you are, like, what's like the simplest way to do that? People like are all busy. They want to just move on quickly. They want to verify it, but they want to like, not spend too much time on it.
And I understand that it creates friction. And any time that you are adding an additional step to your vetting process, it's going to be operationally a little bit, it's going to slow you down some, but it's going to reduce the risk that you have of having your freight stolen. So I'm thinking, yes, every time. Like, you really don't know. For phone spoofing, if somebody picks up the phone and calls you, you don't really know that you're speaking to that carrier until you've picked up that phone and called that carrier. And when you're emailing inboxes that are verified and in platforms on the FMCSA and you're communicating with them, and that's the only way that you're communicating, you really don't know who you're speaking to, because there's so many people that have access to carrier inboxes. And it's really not their fault. I mean, they're doing the same things that the brokers are doing, and assuming the identity of the dispatchers that they're working with are good, legitimate people that are going to book freight for them and make their lives easier, but they're the ones who get the scar on their business when something happens. And same with the driver level. I think that we see that occur very, very often. from a driver level is carriers coming to us saying, hey, I didn't know the driver was going to brake bad and take off with the freight. You know, I did my due diligence and as much as I could to vet this driver. But we see that on a driver level too.
Demi, I'm curious, you know, as more brokerages start to roll out these, you know, automated agents booking freight, talking to drivers, stuff like that. Like, is that, are you seeing any signs that there are new vectors of attack to you know, weasel in an automated booking process, or is that like a more secure, like they're able to run through more steps of vetting? Like, I'm just curious how you see that evolving.
Pertaining to AI, no, we haven't really observed a lot of attack vectors around that. I know there's AI dispatch services and AI, you know, broker calls that are going out to carriers. I think because those are outbound, it reduces that risk quite a bit, because if they're making an outbound phone call to a verified phone number that's historically seen with that carrier, it can mitigate the risk, but I think that it's just too new for me to definitively say here in this call that it's a risk or not. I think that we haven't affected on our side.
I mean, if I'm a broker and I use Highway and I'm evaluating one of these new systems, right? Whether we could name all the companies, right? If I'm evaluating one of these, like I guess my question would be like, you know, am I exposing myself in using one of these, or am I still somehow covered because I am a Highway customer? You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that there's still some legwork that goes into vetting. And I think that is a very big misconception for brokers who are using our platform. Is we put a lot of data in the platform. We have a lot of products and features that can help you mitigate risk. But I think knowing how to use those and putting them into practice, it makes it a little bit more solid in terms of when you're booking with that. We do a lot of that legwork, but there are certain things that have changed in fraud. And so there's additional measures that need to be taken before you book a carrier on a load, because we have so many carriers that are breaking bad and committing direct theft. We're seeing that more on the rise. So there does need to be additional vetting. And I understand it. Like you know, Paul, you've been a broker, you know that adding additional steps in vetting just creates a lot of friction. And I think it takes some getting used to, but the brokers who are doing it and doing it right, I'm not hearing from them. I'm not hearing from them in a negative way in any way, shape, or form. The other ones that, you know, need a little bit more handholding and need to be trained a little more on how to use the platform and use the data that's in front of them. It's our job to educate. You know, we own that outcome and take that responsibility. And I think that 2026 will be a lot of that, is just communicating how to better vet a carrier and how to do it quickly and efficiently and prevent fraud within your network. It's painful at first. Any change is really painful in a broker network, but it prevents fraud. And I think that it's worth it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then top targets were food, beverage, and electronics in 2025. Not much has changed there, right? Just because food is easy to get, like, to sell. And then same with beverage, and electronics are just high value.
Yeah, easy to resell, quick to move, strong secondary market demand, less traceability in some cases. I think faster turnaround to cash combination makes them especially attractive to organized fraud rings who are targeting certain items. I think that there's not been much change in what they're seeing there. Usually around the holidays, we see kind of weird things spike. I know, like last year was like Legos. It's really easy to steal those because they're expensive and easy to resell. But we haven't seen anything super crazy like that over the last 6 months or so. But food, beverage, and electronics, remains kind of top.
This is kind of a random question. But in your typical theft event, more often than not, the trailer and perhaps the tractor as well are being stolen, or the wrong person's picking up, like somebody else picking up the freight, and then it's gone. Like, like, what's the most common event, I guess, when a load is stolen? Is it a different person goes and picks it up, or is it the trailer stolen, or what is most common here?
I think that everything looks really legitimate at the point of pickup. Paperwork checks out, truck shows up correctly, and the load moves, right? And I think that that's where that driver level, the driver level fraud kind of comes into play. And carriers don't always have the tools or processes to deeply vet every driver that they're sending there. But when theft happens, it doesn't just hurt the broker and the shipper; it damages their carrier's reputation too. But I think that we see a lot of that. Looking legitimate at the point of pickup, and there has to be more communication, I think, between that shipper and broker and carrier that a little bit lives in silos. And I think that it's after the fact, when they found that the ELD has stopped pinging, the load has stopped tracking, driver has gone dark, they can't get a hold of anybody at the carrier company, that then they're going back to the shipper saying, well, who actually showed up there? And then that's when they're finding out, okay, a rental truck showed up, not the actual carrier's truck, had a logo on it, but here's the information that I have. And it's kind of like you find out too late. And I think that that's what we see in a lot of theft events right now, especially.
I'm wondering like how shippers are like protecting themselves. Cause I remember when I was a broker, like there was a situation I think we had in 2020 where like the driver was able to, when he signed in at the shipper, like he was able, like it was just like a sign-in sheet. You could put in your name and you could put in the company you drive for. Like they didn't like cross-verify to see like, oh, is this actually the carrier? This was back in 2020. So keep in mind, I think a lot of things have changed, but it was like a big shipper, a popcorn shipper in Waukegan, Illinois. And like, you could put whatever you want on that sheet, when you're checking in. And I don't know if things have changed. I mean, I'm assuming some shippers have gotten smarter. Have you noticed anything from the shipper side? Like from like, at least
I've noticed more information being captured at the shipper level. And I've noticed that in theft events, that's where we get a lot of our information from. Is they're like, yes, I have a photo of the ID. I have, the driver's identification. I have the VIN that showed up. I have, on the security cameras, the truck that's there, the license plates that are there. I think we find out a lot of information from the shipper that we weren't necessarily getting before, because it was information that the brokers didn't necessarily know, because it happens at the shipper, like it happens there, not the broker's not physically seeing it. So I've seen more of a shift in terms of the information that the brokers already have on hand when a theft event occurs, or when a theft event occurs, they're going to the shipper and asking these questions, and they can provide that because they have the information. So I think in the last 6 years, 2020 to now, because fraud has gotten so intelligent and has kind of been running rampant, is they're capturing more information at their level and are able to provide that to the broker. It's why a lot of double brokering events are caught prior to anything occurring, and brokers just aren't loading them at the time. Shippers like, hey, guy that you booked didn't show up. It's actually this guy. And then, a lot of those double brokering events are being prevented, but theft is not, unfortunately, because they're masking and presenting as the actual carrier.
Yeah, that's interesting about the double brokering stuff. I mean, I went to Armenia back in 2021 when it was like rampant, and so we were hanging out with some double brokers. Unfortunately, we had all our content deleted. We had some amazing interviews with like real double brokers. We were at a double brokering office in Armenia, and I ended up. This was a stupid mistake that I did. Was I ended up going on Instagram Live. I wanted to show everyone like how a double brokering office looks like, because we were just hanging out, drinking beer. Like they weren't like defrauding people. They were just they had an MC with no freight guards, and they were like literally telling me like, Paul, you can't tell anyone our MC, we have no freight guards. And they were really friendly to us. We didn't want to like disclose any of that information, but we went on Instagram Live, and like 250 people saw it within a few minutes, and all of a sudden like 5 minutes later we had like 6 guys just stormed the building, right? And like they're super pissed, right? And it was a really unpleasant situation. But what I wanted to get to is like, we were told like back then, and even a few years before then, like there was a double brokering office on every corner in Armenia, in Yerevan, in the capital. And it's just like the way that like all the young kids made money. And it developed, because like back then it was literally just double brokering. Hey, I'm gonna go on a load board, I'm gonna get a load, and I'm gonna sell it for cheaper. And though back then it wasn't about stealing freight, it was just like let me just double broker it. That's it. And now like we have like a decent amount of like Armenians following Instagram, and like I had someone message me recently saying like they've essentially all shut down. And then I also heard from someone else saying that like they actually moved like their operations to India. At least the people that were involved in the higher level, like kind of like the criminal gangs and stuff. So I'm just like, I'm curious, and like it's interesting to see because like a lot of comments yesterday when I posted on Instagram about Serbia being, you know, in the top 3 was like, where's Armenia? Where's Armenia? And like what I've been hearing is like a lot of what was happening in Armenia now is just this left. I don't know if what you've seen from your data.
I think just because it's being caught, it's more in your face now because shippers are doing more of their due diligence in terms of seeing who's actually showing up. And we're seeing a little bit of a drop too in like unresolved insurance claims because of a double brokered load, right? So we've seen that correlate, but we're not seeing double brokering as prominent as, you know, like a direct theft event or things like that. It's caught much sooner. And I think that eventually we'll see it come back. I don't think that we're going to see it go away. I think that we've seen it taper down because there's other things that are working for bad actors right now. And they're profiting from it versus, you know, putting other trucks on the load, getting other people paid, other carrier companies, you know, putting them on loads, and it causes a mass confusion. But yeah, I would say like in Armenia, we haven't observed that super heavily. It's still happening, just not as much as it was before in previous years.
One like, oh wow, my computer's about to die, so I'm gonna plug it in. The one thing that I've been thinking a lot about is highway, and not just highway, many freight tech companies have come of age in a historically soft market, right? The market has been horrible for 4 years now.
Yeah.
And that has been advantageous in many ways to not only highway, but other companies. If in 2020, right after the COVID boom started, you as a broker started to say to carriers, hey, you're only going to work with me if you give your ELD to highway. Carriers, a lot of them probably would have been like, you know, kick rocks, dude. Like, I'm not taking your freight then. Yeah. Right. And so the chess match, if you will, is under different circumstances in a hot market. And so I'm just curious, you know, you guys have had a couple of years now to really in a way take advantage of the soft conditions to essentially just drive adoption, right? And I'm curious, as the market flips inevitably, whenever that is, how you guys foresee that going, right?
I think that there's certain things that they can do within the platform that benefit them if they're a compliant carrier. There's more benefit. We are never going to charge a carrier to use our platform. We want them to be able to use TFX. We want them to be able to vet brokers on our platform. We want them to be able to do those things. All we ask for is some transparency. And this business doesn't operate on trust. And I sound like a broken record saying that, but it's true. And if you're a compliant carrier trying to do it right, giving proper visibility, and just know, like, we're not getting the data. I think there's a lot of misconceptions around ELD in particular and what they're giving. I mean, I talk to carriers who just are a little bit uneducated, and that's something that we probably need to do a better job of, is telling them like, hey, we're not getting your card information or your driver information. We have no interest in those things. We just want to know if your equipment belongs to you, if it's insured equipment, and if it's moving. That's it. And if you can verify those things for us, we're going to in turn give you more visibility and more ability to use our platform for the benefit of you at no cost. So I'm hoping that trend kind of remains. I think that we want carriers to be motivated and to trust that we're not trying to mess with their data. And it's hard to do. It's hard to communicate that to a carrier that has been targeted by this industry.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I guess one other way, you know, one other vector of that idea of what's it going to be like when the market flips is now all of a sudden when the pace is picked up, like, how are brokers still going through all the checks, right? Are they still doing all the things that they otherwise would do, or are they going to start to have to cut corners again to move difficult freight, right? When capacity is not what it was.
Really hope not, because our 2026 fraud will be, our index will be very different than it is today. So I'm hoping they continue to vet as they should, but it will change. This is a very, very adaptable industry. And I think that we can adapt to change. We can help with that change, and we can help mitigate that. And these conversations definitely are beneficial. Thank you guys for doing this. I certainly appreciate it. And I think that the viewers do too. It just gives you kind of some insight into what's going on and how it will change and what the industry will do when these changes occur. So I appreciate you guys.
Well, Demi, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, wishing you a good Friday. Take care.
Bye.
See ya. All right. Wow.
Dude, we get a lot of we get a lot of action. I almost feel like we need like a couple minutes after to just like.
Well, we're supposed to. So I set up Trey, Matthew, and Demi to be 25 minutes so that we have a 5-minute break in between. But we've been going at the 30-minute mark. But we've had really good conversations today. That was, I mean, I think this was one of our better Freight Gong Fridays, especially from just a production level standpoint. Maybe the first.
We need to get name tags under people's screens, like who they are and what company they're with. Because if you just tune in, you have no idea who the hell we're talking to. You know.
Sure. We have 220 people listening to right now on Twitter, which. I think I don't know if they watch us on Twitter or they listen on Twitter. I feel like a lot of people listen on Twitter, but we got 220 people.
Well, shout out
for listening.
220 people who've got start their Friday morning with us.
Shout out to ePay Manager for sponsoring.
Yeah, shout out ePay. I was on the same plane as Clayton and Fritz from OTR on Wednesday last week.
On your way to BGSA.
Yeah, when I took that picture of me like with nobody in the plane and I was sitting in the middle seat, I'd literally just seen Clayton and I was like, dude, I'm gonna go back. Look where I'm sitting back here, bro.
Was he in first class?
Yeah.
It was an empty plane.
Huh?
It was an empty plane.
It was, man. It was.
What? And Brad Jacobs was there, right?
Yeah, but I missed him.
Oh,
I was literally I guess that would have been Thursday. I was just hanging out outside because like literally right outside the doors was like the ocean and you could just like go hang out there. And so I was out there just like shooting the breeze and all of a sudden someone's like, oh, dude, Brad Jacobs was here. I'm just like, oh crap.
I saw that Supply Chain Insiders, which is a podcast by Pallet, they were there doing interviews. Michael was. Okay, I'm gonna just pull this up. I'm gonna share this screen here. We could go a little bit longer today. How is your schedule, Reed? You could go a little bit longer. I feel like we
hold on.
Maybe a few more minutes, but
yeah, I got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
I gotta post
Michael
this video.
Berg. What's up?
Nothing. Keep going.
So Michael Berg was doing a bunch of interviews at BGSA, and he got one with Brad Jacobs, which I think is pretty sweet. But I wonder when that's going to come out. So he was doing a lot of interviews. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to go to maybe Michael's page. Shout out to Michael from Pallet. He's the one running interviews. So here we go. He did. I'm going to just see the names that he did interviews. I interviewed 20 CEOs. Of the biggest logistics companies. Here are some of the non-consensus perspectives I heard from leaders who literally keep the world moving at BGSA 20. Let's see here. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I think they've done a good job.
Yeah, no, it's a super good strategy. I think just from their standpoint, it's just good for the brand. I think it's super smart.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Cool. Well, we're actually releasing our SF video next week.
Good.
I don't know if I should pull up a little trailer tease of it. Should I tease it a little bit?
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I'm just reading Ryan Joyce posted big announcement coming Monday. And the first clip is
I'm gonna pull it up. It's actually from our podcast. Let's pull it up.
Yeah.
That's Ryan Joyce. Let's see here. Ryan Joyce. So let me pull it up.
Play it.
Was actually triggering calls to like 100 different carriers. So if you kind of do the math, watching a demo the other day where one of these AI agents was actually triggering calls to like 100 different carriers. So if you kind of do the math on that, you have 100 calls, 5 minutes a piece at 20 cents a minute. That comes out to about $100 to book that one load. A load may only be like 50 to $100 of margin. We can actually connect to the third or fourth carrier instead of the 90th carrier there and actually make AI smarter to know who to call. All of a sudden, you actually can book a load for $3 and not lose all your margin by trying to do a shotgun approach out everywhere. Anyone who has used Genlogs over the last year and you've been impressed with the product, buckle up.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
They're Ryan was at BGSA too. I spent a decent amount of time with him, and I mean, dude, they're crushing it. They're crushing it. There's no question about it. So it's super exciting to watch it evolve. I mean, it's
dude, on that point, like you brought it up when we were talking to Garrett 2 weeks ago. It's like we've seen a lot of like, or maybe you posted this on LinkedIn, and you also talked to Garrett about this, where like we've seen a lot of people like just come up over the last few years and like have been crushing it, and it's been cool to see. And like there's like obviously like I think we have like our own like class, and that's actually a good topic for like a magazine. Because I used to when I was a teenager, I was really into hip hop, and there was they had a class, I forgot what magazine did it, but they would drop like the rap class of the year. Yeah. And I feel like that needs to be done in freight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think in the last, 3 or 4 years, there's been there's been a whole new generation. I kind of think of like the digital broker generation was kind of like the last kind of big freight tech boom and bust, if you will. The Convoys, the Uber Freights, the Load Smarts, etc. And this time there's definitely, there's definitely a new cohort, and they're all and many of them are involved essentially in a knife fight because AI, there's so much money that's been raised. It's a giant land grab. Everyone's trying to figure it out. It's hyper competitive. I imagine all of these companies and I don't mean to say that the only type of company in this like new generation is AI, because that's obviously not true. But at least a sizable portion of the folks involved are literally in like a hyper competitive like knife fight, basically.
So this is what we're gonna do for freight. We have the double. This is double XL.
Dude, we have to take a picture exactly like this.
This is what we're gonna do at Freight Caviar. But we got to get this. Maybe this is gonna be the second edition of this year, because the first edition, which is coming out, which is spring, is going to be about Freight Alley, which we're cooking up right now. And by the way, if you're interested in subscribing, print.freightcaviar.com. You can subscribe to our magazine. You'd also get the first edition right here, which is Reed has some copies left at the Truck Parking Club headquarters. But we're cooking up the second edition. I actually need Reed. You need to send me some photos of the cover. We need to get that cover out. But we need to do a freshman class 2026 of freight. Like who would you put on the freshman class of freight?
I don't even think they're I mean, they're not even freshmen at this point.
Well, I mean, for example, I think we could put Garrett on the freshman class. And what would you call it then if it's not freshman class?
I don't know. Call it the freshman class for lack of a better term.
I think it's cool to call it a freshman class because they're like an up and come up,
I literally think taking a photo like this, just exactly like this, would be hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, we should.
How do we? I mean, but the thing is like it's hard to nail. Like, I don't even know how you get all these people in one place. Like,
we got to organize
a lot of them. I mean, doing like our own event, would actually be dope. And like literally just doing that.
Yeah, I mean we are, but like, okay, for example, April TIA in Phoenix.
Yeah,
like we could go to a studio in Phoenix and get a photo set done. And anyone that's like not going to TIA, we got to invite them. Be like, hey, you want to be part of the freshman class? We want to include you, but you got to be in Phoenix on this day because we're going to be in a studio taking photos.
yeah.
You know, like you're either in or out. Like if you belong in a freshman class, I'm sure you're gonna fly out and be there. You know.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, we should talk more about this.
And then look at this. Like we gotta have it set up like this on the website.
Wow. Yeah, this is good. 1900 Rugrat. Wow. Man, there's a lot of people on this. There's a lot of freshmen out there, huh? No, but I do think it's actually true. I mean, there's but these, I think in my post when I talked about this, I was basically just like, look, like, a couple years has passed and like these companies are a lot bigger than I think people realize, like, and I'm sure Ryan in his announcement on Monday will probably say as much. But I mean, it's about to get even bigger, right? Because it's all exponential and yeah, I mean, I think in another year or two or three, it's just going to be like a whole new world as well. So, there's a lot going on.
Right. Yeah. You're right. Good stuff.
All right, bro.
You're out?
No, well, I mean, yeah, but I do need to. I need to take some photos, dude. What do you think? Is this a good setting? Do you think right here? I kind of like my setting right here.
You should. I think you should take. Actually have a photo of the studio with the lighting there, so like you could have like the full frame and kind of like it would highlight the fact that you're like marketing yourself through the camera, and so it'd be like a photo of the camera and the whole studio.
Should I put it? Should I just put another camera behind?
You'd be part of the freshman class.
Yeah. Right. Hell yeah. I'm gonna be class president. Yeah. Okay. So I got to do that, man. I got to do that. Let's. And then next Friday I'll be back here, so we'll be good.
We have next Friday, just a heads up. I think I know our roster for next Friday. We have 2 Danielles next Friday. 2 Danielles.
2 Danielles. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Danielle Schaffen and Danielle Spinelli from Descartes. And then we
get a third Danielle.
What's up?
Is there a third one we could have?
Actually,
is there another Danielle out there? If you're named Danielle and you want to come talk on us,
we already have a third. I think Ken Adamo's joining us from DAT.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah. So we already have a squad. It's cool because we're doing a lot more production in the sense of like pre-production and post-production on Freight Gong Friday. So we'll be having more of that. And thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday at 8 a.m. Central. This has been fun. This is dope. We need it every week. We need to add something to the studio. Like you got to add something in the back, and I'll add something in the back. I got this plant this week. Look at my plant.
Let me see.
Nice
I can't. The problem is the full frame version of you is literally right behind the camera, so I literally can't see you.
I got the plant.
All right. I'll add something new. All right, bro. I'll see you in a bit.
Cool.
Later.
See ya. Bye.